everybody, welcome back to Hey Nurse Angel, and today is a fun topic for me. I am going to be talking to you guys all about back to sleep safety protocol and how to properly swaddle. I have here two little special babies and I have swaddled them already, and so I'm just going to teach you guys how to properly swaddle your children and get into some fun, interesting facts. So, here we go. Before we get into the topic and learning how to swaddle, I want to talk to you guys about the back to sleep protocol and what you need to bring baby home and be able to go to sleep safely every night. To help you guys remember, we're going to learn our ABCs. A, your baby should always sleep alone. There is a big thing going around with people who enjoy co-sleeping, and what I will say is, while yes, I'm gonna encourage you to do the recommendations that are set in place, I am not here to be the judge and jury. If you do co-sleep and you use, I know some people use the bassinets in the beds, and what I will say is just be very cautious when doing that. These safety measures were set up to help prevent SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. So to people who may not know what SIDS is an unexpected death that has happened with a baby who is 1 year of age or younger while they were sleeping. For the most part, they say like you have to be categorized as SIDS if your baby went to bed, a generally healthy baby, and did not wake up. Oftentimes, the baby passing away occurs from some sort of suffocation, whether it's from co-sleeping with the parent and the parent rolls over the baby, whether it's the baby's swaddle was maybe too loose or they had extra things in the beds and it covered their nose and their mouth and their airway and they stopped breathing, or they had any sort of situation that caused their airway to be blocked and they passed away. Of course, they do an autopsy on the baby to determine what the cause may be. If there is no known cause of death, they do rule it out as a SIDS. So these protocols were set into place to help prevent the high number of SIDS we were seeing years back. And what I will say is that it is definitely proven fact because our numbers have gone down thanks to these protocols. So I take these very seriously. I try to teach all my parents their ABCs to just make sure you guys go home safe and prepared. To reiterate, babies should always sleep alone. B, babies should always sleep alone on their backs. So if you're putting baby in the crib, I know some people like to turn their babies to the side, turn their babies prone, which is tummy time with their head like this. But safe sleeping practice is to have your baby sleep on their back in the crib. So babies should sleep alone on their back, that's your B, and C is in their crib. So the ABCs really does discourage co-sleeping, and like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not your judge or jury, but I am going to promote to you guys the best practice when it comes to your babies because we want healthy, thriving babies. It's not a good feeling when babies get brought in and there's these like catastrophic situations. The baby just stopped breathing, we're trying to resuscitate and all these things, and it can be a lot on the nurse, and it sucks when you know that it could have been prevented strictly from just an educational standpoint. So that's why I'm here. ABCs, babies should sleep alone on their back in their cribs. When it comes to crib requirements, there are some things, like I understand that there's a lot of cute things that are being made for babies these days, but what I will tell you is do not waste your money on things that can cause harm to your babies. So if there's a few things that I'm gonna suggest you guys not grab is don't get bumpers for your babies. Like I said, with SIDS, anything other than their body and their swaddle blanket, that's all they need in their crib. They don't need the bumpers. They're not rolling over onto the side. I would suggest not even getting it. Don't put it on your baby shower list. Your baby should have a very firm mattress, and then your mattress cover, whatever fitted sheet, should be very fitted. It shouldn't be loose. You shouldn't have extra blankets in there. You shouldn't have stuffed animals, toys, things that can literally end up on their face and suffocating them while they're sleeping. You want to X all that out. So your crib should look very basic. It should just be a firm mattress, a mattress cover, and then your baby goes right on in with their light receiving blanket that they're swaddled in, along with whatever clothing you have on underneath. Getting to the part of clothing, you never want to overdress your baby when they are swaddled. Babies can overheat. They can. So you don't want to dress them heavy and then put a heavy blanket as a swaddle blanket for them. You want to give them a nice breathable receiving blanket, and then underneath you could put them in a onesie. Of course, temperatures may vary within your household. Some people have AC, some people don't. So you just need to understand that your baby's temperature, it's not like you have to go and check. I know some moms actually check their baby's temperature like every 3 hours because that's what we did in the hospital, but it's absolutely not necessary for you to do that. Make sure you're not overdressing your baby where they are overheating while they're swaddled trying to sleep. Because we like our babies to sleep on their backs, it's very important that when you guys are awake, both you and baby, you guys get some tummy time in, because it used to be that babies sleep on their stomach, but then they realized the rise and fall of the baby's breaths were suppressed and babies were ending up with sits. So back for sleep, but make sure you guys get your tummy time in throughout the day, even if it's like a little 5 minutes of just putting them on their tummies, on your lap, and they could just like kick their little feet. And this is as they get older. They're not doing this straight out of the womb, but yeah, tummy time is very essential. So now that we have all of the important stuff out the way, because I do want your babies to be safe at home, we're gonna get into swaddling. Here are some fun facts regarding, well, I don't know if you want to call them fun. I think swaddling's fun. You can take it as you may, but here's some facts regarding swaddling that I have just over the years have learned, have researched, and want to bring to your attention. Swaddling technique is actually used as a soothing environment for your baby, especially directly out of the womb. It really mimics the structure of tightness and just containment that they felt while they were in your womb. And so that's why it's so important when we say like swaddle your babies, especially when they're just fussy and crying and you've done everything you can, you fed them, you changed them, and they're just still fussy, you don't know what's going on. Give them a good swaddle, give them a good, pat, just try to rock them and do whatever it is that you need to do. But swaddling is going to be your best friend when it comes to just soothing and easing your baby. There is such thing as swaddling your baby too tight. When you swaddle your baby too tight, you do cause the chest rise and fall when they're breathing to be restricted. So you want to make sure that when you do swaddle your baby, you're not pulling too hard to where it's affecting their breathing. But you also at the same time don't want to swaddle too loosely, which I'm going to get into when we go over our actual demonstration. Like I said earlier, babies can overheat. So what you want to do is put your baby in a nice onesie, get a thin receiving blanket. When I say thin, I mean like it shouldn't be a fleece blanket that you're swaddling your baby with. That actually can cause overheating and just a lot of issues that you just don't want to get into. So honestly, a onesie and a thin receiving blanket is more than enough for swaddling your baby. When you're swaddling your baby, and I'm going to go over these steps again as I'm actually doing the demonstration. When you're swaddling your baby, make sure that your baby's legs are not straight. You want them in the frog-like position to help with hip dysplasia and hip arthritis down the line. You don't want those issues, so just make sure when you're not swaddling them like a mummy. You're not putting their arms straight, legs straight, and you're just trying to wrap them up real tight to get it done. No, you're doing this as a developmental tool to help with soothing, to help with them growing. It is very necessary that if you're gonna do swaddling, you do it correctly. If you become master swaddler, right? I've been doing this for 10 years, guys, so I like to think that I'm actually a really good swallower. So a lot of the times my babies, I'll change their diapers, do their assessment, do their vitals, check whatever tubes I need to check, and if they're gonna be oral feeding with their bottles, I unwrap them. I don't keep them wrapped in a swaddle before they feed, because babies get real comfortable. This is mimicking the womb for them, so they're gonna wanna go back to sleep. So when you're feeding your baby, just make sure you don't have your baby swaddled up nice and tight. You just unswaddle them, let them eat, they get their feeding done, and then you can re-swaddle them when they're done. I promise you, it sounds like, oh, really? I gotta unswaddle and re-swaddle, but yes, it will help you significantly. And lastly, the manufactured swaddle blankets that are out now allow for the swaddle technique to happen without you actually having to do a receiving blanket swaddle. I personally, like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I'm very much so, I like these. But they do have snuggles and all type of different kind of receiving blankets that already have, you zip it and then you Velcro it, and it pretty much works just like a receiving swaddle. So it's really all in personal preference. I'm not gonna sit here and say one is better than the other. I think they both do the job of containing, holding, soothing the baby. So it's really just whatever it is that you like. I do hope that you find this video very helpful. If you ever have any questions or just concerns, or like, I don't know if I'm swaddling baby correctly, can you look at my technique? I will be more than happy to just send over a message and I'll be able to help you out. I'm going to show you guys a good demonstration regarding the swaddling. We'll go over it a few times in slow motion and I'll speed it up for you. You can go through with me with your baby or with your baby doll if you're pregnant and don't have a baby yet. And I really do hope that this is helpful for you. It was a pleasure bringing you guys some more good information. See you next week.